And now on Tech for Techs, Phil gives a shout out for a box well done, complains about it being too short, and an overabundance of plastic sets him over the edge as he confirms aliens are among us. All this and more on Tech for Techs.
Hi everyone, Phil from Tech for Techs here. Today we're going to be looking at this from Mercusys. It's the MR70X AX1800 dual band Wi-Fi 6 router. Whew, let me get my breath a second. Right, okay, it retails for $69.99 and we've got links in the description just below. Okay, as you can see, we've got the Mercusys AX1800 dual band Wi-Fi 6 router. The actual model number is MR70X. You can see the product there. You've got 4 big antennas off it. It's a nice looking box, red and black, usually goes well together, and it does on this. It's Wi-Fi 6 as it says there. It says level up your speed. You've got connect 4 times more devices, which is pretty good. You've got overall security protection as well, and it says immerse your home in Wi-Fi, and it tells you about the high gain antennas as well, so that's pretty good on there. On the top of the box it mentions here about a 3-year warranty as well, which is pretty good. The side gives you a few specifications which I won't go into now, and on the other side it gives you even more specifications, more of a bullet point effect telling you exactly what's what. And then on the back it gives you even more information, so there's plenty of information on there. If it doesn't tell you on the box, I'm guessing it's not going to tell you otherwise. So on here it tells you about leveling up your speeds. It's 1.5 times faster. More streams, more devices, more fun, immerse your home in Wi-Fi, and fully enhanced performance as well. So let's have a look what we've got in the box. Okay, so this is what's inside the box. Let's go through the negatives first. Well, plastic. The whole thing is wrapped in plastic. So you've got plastic along the top, then each of the antennas has got this daft plastic on, which is sort of shrink wrapped to it, so you have to peel it off bit by bit, which is a bit of a pain, makes a mess. And again, there's no recycling marks on any of this, so it can't be good for the environment. And then there's another plastic bag there as well. So as you can tell, there's lots of plastic. It's not needed. We're in 2021, save the world, save the environment, blah, blah, blah. We need less plastic. It's not needed this day and age. You can get away with it, and we see a lot of products what don't have it. On top of that, there's also plastic on the power cable as well. Please get rid of the plastic. Right, next, paper. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do we really need 4 sheets of paper? Can't we just have a QR code like a lot of products do these days? Just have a QR code on the box, or just one card with a QR code. Make things a lot better. We are again in 2021. Pretty much everyone has a smartphone these days. Well, I'm guessing they'd have a smartphone if they're going to be buying something like this. Let's put it that way. So it would save a lot of paperwork, save the environment, and then also the manufacturer will be able to update the manual whenever they wanted online, and people will go to the latest version of the manual, which again, this is so unnecessary. I can't see why you need four sheets of paper, a booklet and so forth. Next, you've got an Ethernet cable, so you can connect that up to your modem or switch or whatever it is you're connecting up to, what you want to connect this to obviously make it wireless internet and so forth. And then you've got the power cable as well. Otherwise, you've got the router, which we'll have a look at in a second. Okay, so this is the product itself. Yeah, it does look like a bit sort of alien-y type things, or a spaceship, or a big walker, or something like that, depending on what you want to call it. But it's got these 4 antennas for a reason, because it is Wi-Fi 6, which basically means it can do up to 1.8 gigabits per second. That's speed. That's not gigabytes, it's gigabits. If you're not sure of the difference, look it up, because there is a difference. So that's basically 1,201 megabits per second on the 5 gigahertz band and 574 megabits per second on the 2.4 gigahertz band. So that basically means it's very fast, faster than most people people's internet's going to be anyway, or at least in 2021. So let's have a look at the box itself. So it's got a lot of shiny marks on it. The only problem with these shiny bits of gloss on here is when you put your finger on it, it leaves a nice fingerprint on it, especially when it's nice hot weather. More than likely though, to be honest with you, once you've set it up, you're not going to be pressing it every 5 minutes, so it shouldn't be too bad. But the only problem with shiny gloss is obviously you do get those fingerprint marks all over it. It does have a nice design on here. It's sort of like a cube design in a way, flowing through it, which is quite nice. The antennas are quite big, as you can see. Just to mention about the cables, the power cable is roughly 1.8 meters long, and the Ethernet cable it comes with is a little stingy. It's only 1 meter long. I would have liked to have seen a 2 meter cable there, to be honest with you, especially when the power cable is 1.8 meters. Right, let's have a look at the bottom. So on the bottom you have got 4 feet. They are not rubberized, they're just plastic, so it will slide a little bit on your units, as you can see there. So if you have got a little bit of a cable tugging at it or anything, it will slide around, which would have been easily fixed if there was little rubber feet on the corners there. But again, it's only a minor thing. On the back, you've got your power socket there to plug in obviously your power cable. You've got a WPS/reset button there. That's to obviously reset the device to the factory defaults, or to pair it up to another device without having to put in all the codes and stuff. You've got 4 ports on the back. You've got your WLAN or WWAN, or WAN, depending on how you want to put it, which is what you would connect up to your device that your internet's coming in from. So whether it's a router or a modem or a switch or whatever, you would connect it up to that one. Then you've got 3 more ports, which are all gigabit ports, which basically means they're really fast ports which you can then connect up to. So altogether there's 4 connections there. 1 coming from the device, what you've got your internet on or your network or whatever, and then 3 more to add 3 extra devices on, either PCs, laptops, game consoles, or even more things like printers or other switches. So it gives you a rough idea. So that's pretty much it to look at it out of the box. There's not a huge amount to see, but we'll just plug it in and just show you how to basically set it up. Okay, let's show you how to plug it in and set it up. It's pretty straightforward. As you can see here, I've got 2 cables. I've got 2 cables plugged into the back. So one is the power, that one obviously goes into the power socket, and then you've got the Ethernet cable which plugs into there. I had to use a slightly longer cable because the one was 1 meter long, which they provided, was a little bit too short to connect up to our router, but it gives you a rough idea. Once you plug those in, you get a green light on the front. That seems to be the only light. It either goes green or it flashes green, and that's it. It doesn't seem to have any other colours, or at least not what we've seen anyway. It only seems to display on green. Let me just double check the manual and just make sure I'm not talking out my arse. Yeah, I can't see anything in the manual about what other colours for the light. It just doesn't really mention that. There's only really 2 pages of it in English, even though it's, oh God, what, 40, 50 pages long, the manual. There's only 2 pages I can see which are in English. It basically just says plug it in and away you go. You can connect straight up to the router by putting the wireless code and password in, which are on the sticker at the bottom. Bear in mind, if you've got really bad eyesight, you're going to need a magnifying glass or get a camera and take a picture and enlarge it, which I had to do with our smartphone because it was that small, which is a little bit of a pain. Even as someone who's really young is going to struggle to read that. But when you've done that, it automatically, when you've connected my when I've connected my laptop up to the device or PC, it's come up with the Mercusys create an administrator password. If you don't get that, you can just go to their website, which it does say in the manual, which is http://MW, that's Mike, Whiskey, login, so login.net. So that's MWLOGIN.net. And put that into your address bar, not into your search box on Google, but into the address bar. That's the bit at the top of your web browser, and it will take you to this page here and let you set it up. And as you can see here, it asks you to create a new password to basically set up as the admin account on here, so you can then set it up. We'll go through the full settings in a few minutes once I've got it hooked up to our test network and show you what sort of speeds we're getting on it as well. So let's have a look at the settings. First of all, when you connect up your PC, laptop or whatever it is up to the router, either via the wireless or a cable, this is the first screen you'll get when you open your web browser. No matter if you type in Google or whatever, it goes straight here. If not, just type in your address bar 192.168.1.1. It's going to ask you for your new admin password. I've already typed one in here, and then you press let's get started. Give it a few seconds to load up. It's asking us, do we want to save that password? I'm not. It's asking what time zone we're in. So obviously, hopefully you know that. If you're in the United Kingdom, you should be clicking on the one what says Dublin, Lisbon, London. Then you press next. If you're not sure what to do here, whether it's static, dynamic, PPOE or anything like that, press auto detect. It'll auto detect what you've got, and then you just press next. You can do a router MAC address if you want, and you've got special ISP settings on there as well if you want to do that. So that's really up to you if you want to do that. You can use a default one, or you can clone it or use custom. I'm going to just press next. Now it asks you basically what wireless settings you want it to be. So you can enable 2.4 gigahertz, which I generally recommend you leave enabled. That's basically so if you've got any older devices which don't work on 5 gigahertz range, they'll be able to connect to the router. You've got the Smart Connect here, where if you click on the little question mark, it tells you. So it basically uses the same settings if you have it set up for the Smart Connect for the 2.4 gigahertz and the 5 gigahertz wireless bands. You've got your network name, so you can name that whatever you want. I'm going to call this TFT 2021 because that's the year. And then on password, I'm going to just put something random in, ABCDE 1 2 3 4 5. So obviously you want a secure password. You don't want it as simple as that. I'm just doing this for demonstration. So right, next up, you can set each band separately if you want, or you can have them joined together. Then you go on to next, and it says, are all these fine and so forth. You need to connect your router up, or connect up to your router using the new wireless settings now. So you'll need to go to your wireless settings, depending on what version of Windows and so forth you are using. You will need to change that and click on the new router. Okay, so that's obviously up to you depending on how you've set it up. Here we go. So it's picking it up on the list now. You can see here TFT 2021 5G and TFT 2021. So I'm going to click on the 5G option and then press connect, and then put the password in, ABCDE 1 2 3 4 5, and press next. We'll let that connect up. Okay, so now we're set up with the new settings. You press obviously connected, and then it'll basically do a test and check to see if everything's working. And as you can see here, it tells you your wireless name, the password, if the 5 gigahertz, 2.4 gigahertz is on, and so forth. And then you press finish. And that's pretty much all set up for you. As you can see, it's pretty easy. It's pretty much press next, 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 next. You don't have to change half of the stuff like the wireless settings. You could leave them the same, and you just use the settings what are written on the bottom of the box. You can see internet IP address and everything here, connection type, and so forth. So that's pretty good. So you've got everything you need. So this is just basically mapping your network. So you can see the clients on here. This is the desktop we're currently using. You can see what the signal strength is and the transfer rate as well, duration, and so forth. You can even block the device if you wanted to. You've got different options at the top, so internet as well. You can change your internet, your dynamic IP and stuff like that on your Mac, as well as the wireless settings, which you pretty much did in the initial setup. You can even create a guest network as well if you want. That allows obviously friends, family, if they come round to your house, or even if you're owning or running a business and you want people to connect up to a separate wireless connection, you can do that. So you can set up a 5 gigahertz one and call it like guest network, and then set up a security, or leave it open so anyone connect whenever they want. So that's pretty good. You've also got advanced options on there as well. It tells you a bit more information, IP address and all your different bits and bobs, LAN connections and so forth. You've got your settings for internet, which we've already gone through, LAN settings, IPTV, VLAN as well, DHCP server, dynamic DNS, routing. And then you've got all your wireless. So you've got your wireless settings, you've got your guest network, so you can allow guests to see each other and so forth. So that's pretty good. You've got wireless and schedule, so you can put a schedule on, so you can basically turn it on and off certain times of the day. WPS as well, so that allows obviously easy connection as well. WDS and additional settings. There's basically lots on there. You've got NAT forwarding, parental controls, security, VPN server, IPv6 system. You've got pretty much everything you'd need on there. So just to go through the menus, just so you can see really quickly what is on there. So I can't think of much else you probably want, but obviously there'll be someone out there saying, oh, it doesn't have a what's it. But again, you get what you pay for most of the time. And again, this has got pretty much most things you'll need on there, which is pretty good. You can do the firmware update through there as well. You can do backup, restore, administration, system logs, diagnostics, reboot it, LED controls, so you can turn the LED off and on if you wanted to. You've got a night mode option, so it'll turn off automatically. So let's just say it's in a room where you don't want a glaring green light on the front of the device, you can get it turned off. And then you've got operation mode, so you've got wireless routing mode, and you've got access point mode. So it really depends on how you want to set it up. So you've got everything there. What we're going to do now is just a few speed tests, compare it against our built-in Virgin router. So we're going to see how it compares when they're next to each other over the wirelesses and speed-wise, to see if those 4 antennas do actually help or not. So, okay, what we're doing now is a speed test. We're just using Google's built-in speed test rather than some of the other ones on the market, which can sometimes be a little bit biased depending on the service provider, and sometimes give not always accurate results, mainly because of all the adverts they have popping up. But so we're just going to use standard Google built-in one for now. So what I'm going to do first is do the test on the Virgin Media router. That's this one here, which says VM983 so forth. I'm going to connect up to that router. We're going to do the test with that, see how fast the upload and download speed is, and then we'll connect back up to the other router just to see what sort of speed we're getting. So let's run the test here. So here we go. So as you can see here, it looks like we're getting a download speed of roughly 57, maybe 58, say 60 megabits per second, and an upload speed not too bad of 35. So that's not too bad. So what we're going to do is then compare that when we're actually connecting up to the Mercusys router. So let's connect up to that. So that was the one we called TFT 2021, and obviously the 5G, which is the faster option. Bear in mind, both of these routers are rated for 5G, so there's no difference there. So now I'm going to run the test. So on the right hand side of the screen, so you can see the difference using the Mercusys actual router, and then we'll figure out which is faster. And straight away we're looking at 160 megabytes there, which is, well, it is 3 times faster than what the Virgin router is actually giving us speed-wise. Upload speed's roughly the same. Bear in mind the internet speed we get coming into this building is actually around about 300 megabytes per second, but we are actually connecting to the router over a distance of around about 20 meters or so. And as you can see, using a standard router, what you get from your service provider, for example Virgin in our case, is only able to transfer the speed at that distance at roughly 60 megabits per second, while, well, let's put it this way, the Mercusys one is doing 167.8 megabits per second. So there's a huge difference there. So it's 3 times faster. Don't get me wrong, still not getting the full speed, and to be honest, using wireless, we don't. We have to generally, in the building we're in, use something along the lines of a direct cabling, or we use a mesh-based system. But even so, if you've got a large house, you're increasing the potential speed of your internet with a better coverage around your house. So yeah, I definitely would recommend you have a look at one of these units in your house to replace, or in addition of your normal router you get from your service provider.